Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 8th episode of the Loose Balls Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ryan Heffernan. To my right is Tristan Mabedog Millionaire. And to my left is Christopher Big Biggity Bean.
What up, though?
Big Biggity.
We're going to be talking a lot of... We'll cut that out, my bad.
You're good.
We're going to be talking about a lot of sports today. Most importantly, college hoops. Plenty of buzzer beaters today. Michigan, Michigan State, earlier on in this week.
Officially March.
Happy March, everyone. Perfect start to March, by the way.
Yeah, the madness came early.
And then we got some breaking news in the NFL. Deebo Samuel traded to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. We'll get into that as well. And then we're going to talk some Pistons and Red Wings because we are from Detroit, so we're going to talk about them for a little bit. And we're going to sprinkle in some of the NFL Draft Combine and finish off with our last 2 segments, Gas or Ass. We can't wait to get it going. Sit back, relax. But before we start, follow our TikTok, YouTube, and X account. They all have the same handle, which is LooseBallsPod1. We drop sports trivia questions, and they've been getting a lot of love so far. So if you guys want to check it out, please go check it out. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the podcast. Bean, take it away.
Thank you, Hef. Like you said, thank you for the support on all the channels. We appreciate the love and support. If you're listening for the first time to the pod, this is 3 lifelong friends enjoying and shooting the shit about sports. So we wanted to start a podcast, and here we are. But without further ado, boys, this is March. The madness is here, and I'm excited. Michigan threw a little damper into that today, but still plenty of games to go. And Mabin on Friday on a Saturday, I couldn't stop listening to do. And someone dropped a Onions clip yesterday. It was 3 minutes of Bill Raftery saying onions during March Madness.
Love it.
We're back better than ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Who do you think? Which game was the most intriguing game this weekend, in your guys' opinions?
Just this weekend or the week in total?
We'll go this week in total. Or any teams that stick out to you and be like, man, this could be a team that could make a run here.
I was really looking forward to the Auburn-Kentucky game. I was really looking forward to that one. Obviously didn't live up to what I thought it would. Because I really like watching Otega Owe.
That's your boy.
He's my boy.
He's officially your boy.
They played Oklahoma earlier in the week, and Otega Owe had 17 of the last 19 points. He's officially my boy. Mm-hmm. He's officially my guy. Mm-hmm. I'm outside of Michigan. I'm definitely going to be cheering for Kentucky.
Good coach, too, Mark Pope.
Auburn started off hot against Kentucky and just ended up coasting the rest of the way and blew them out on Kentucky's home court. So that was the most intriguing game for me outside of all the Michigan games. But, yeah, it didn't live up to the hype. But there was a lot better games, but, yeah.
Auburn, belt to ass.
Did you see that? That was such a great clip. Yeah, they brought an actual belt.
And then on the bus after, Alabama ended up losing. We'll get into that in a second. But they found out Bama lost, and they were like, outright champs, baby. So they had quite the celebration after their big win in Kentucky. But we've said it now for the last 3 weeks. They are a very good team. I think it's them and Duke, 1A, 1B. However you want to put them, I don't really care. But it's them in Tier 1, and it's the rest of those 1-2 seeds behind them. Mm-hmm. But they're just so deep. They're 17-1 in the SEC, and the SEC by far competitive-wise is the best conference. Mm-hmm. And they've lost 1 game. So it's impressive and testament to Bruce Pearl, how great he's been in his 7 or 8 years. Already been to a Final Four, and his team is well on their way to another Final Four.
Is there another conference that you could see winning, or is it going to be an SEC team winning it all?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Duke can win. Houston can win. Here's the thing with the SEC. There's so many competitive teams, and they're going to get a lot of teams in, mm-hmm. and that means they have more chances to lose in the first round. But obviously, that also first round first weekend, but that also means they have a lot of opportunities to get past the first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're gonna see like a Bama or maybe even a Tennessee lose early. Even Texas Tech, I remember 2 weeks ago you said you're not a believer, and they've lost 4 in a row now. So
yeah,
I think they're bound for an early exit. Maybe like a Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Missouri just lost. Maybe even a Vandy will make a surprise run. But I think outside of Bama, Auburn, Tennessee, and Florida, I don't have much faith. Maybe one of those other teams I just mentioned, along with those 4, and I think one of those 4 that I have a lot of faith in will probably lose. I'm not a believer in Kentucky, not this year.
I have a question. Auburn and Duke versus the field. If both those bets were plus 100, what would you take?
a lot of talk of that. I would have to go with Auburn and Duke.
Really?
I don't think it's really
Even though it's March?
until one. I think there's going to be a lot because after those 2, there's so many other good teams. I think there'll be a lot of upsets. But I'm not taking the field seriously as long as those two teams are still in it.
Look at UConn the last 2 years. UConn was a 4 seed 2 years ago. They didn't lose. They were 10 or like 15-0 against teams outside the Big East. And then last year, it was basically them and Purdue were the 1A 1B, and they massacred Purdue in the finals. So we're gonna get some upsets, but until like someone's gonna really have to play well, be on their A+ game, and have Duke and Auburn be on their B+ game for them to lose.
Yeah.
Did when Duke had Zion and RJ Barrett,
Cam
Reddish, I feel like that team was that team getting more hype than this team, do you think?
I don't think this team's getting a whole lot of hype because of how down the ACC is this year.
And the ACC, didn't they have 3 number 1 seeds? Was it them?
Last
North
year?
Carolina and Virginia? No, the year they went.
The
year they won
remember.
that Zion team. I think. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm old enough to remember that team was getting a lot of love, and Zion was like the perennial next.
Well, that game was
LeBron
when we were in college.
And I know.
Yeah.
It was
I would
kind
hope
of
so. You could remember.
It was kind
that.
of a joke, dude. My
Okay,
memory
okay.
sucks, but
Okay.
But yeah, I remember they were getting so much love and all that stuff. And Michigan State, what did they beat them in the Elite Eight or
I believe
Final?
it was the
Elite
Elite
Eight.
Eight.
So they didn't even make the Final Four. So, I mean, this is a different coach. Obviously, Coach K isn't there anymore.
But John Shire, I'm a big fan of John Shire.
Prodigy of Coach K. Obviously was on the 2010 team.
You know, Coach K is going to take credit for this championship.
100%.
He's going to be leading them out of the tunnel.
He's going to lead the parade. He's going to be on the on the duck boat. But I may be mistaken, but I think that Zion team, the ACC was loaded. I think Virginia and North Carolina were also a 1 seed. It might have been the year before, but I think it was that year. And ACC, it's Duke this year and Clemson. That's about it.
So does that
Clemson's a sleeper.
That's why they're getting slept on. That's why they still have a lot. Okay. They still have a lot of media hype. Don't get me wrong, but I think that that Duke team. I agree with you, Hef. In 2019 was probably the most hyped team. Obviously, they had 3 lottery picks. Now you don't see that, and they were 3 freshmen too. So freshmen always get the cake too, and we haven't really seen that in a while. So that's why that team got hype. But I think this Duke team they have a lot of freshmen too. Mm-hmm. So that may be the one thing that might kill them. But they're just so good, and they're beating every team by 40.
They have a couple guys who have been there and done that. Like Tyrese Proctor's been there. I think this is his 3rd year.
And Mason Gillis, who I always forget.
Yep.
Who comes off the bench.
Always forget about him, but he's such a reliable, great role player. Mm-hmm. And Cooper Flag, he doesn't play like a freshman, so
right.
It's
no, for them not to make the second weekend, they're gonna have to play a C game at worst if that other team plays their best game of the year.
You said it, Bean. If either of those teams, Auburn and Duke, are playing at their highest level, I don't see anybody else beating them. I do see teams that are able to beat them, like a Florida, like a Houston. If Auburn and Duke are playing like a B or B- game, but they have to play their best game. the other team.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Both those teams could play an F game in their first game and still win by 10 plus.
Yeah.
That's how deep and talented they are.
I do have a prediction to make.
Yeah,
I
let's hear it.
think Auburn, I want to make this clear. I think Auburn is the best team in the country,
Yep.
but I think Duke, if they meet in the national championship game, Duke will win the game.
That's the
Is that,
great.
just, is that just a matchup thing?
No, and just in general, too, I think Duke will win the national championship.
I know, but what's your reasoning if you think Auburn's better? Why do you think Duke will beat them?
I think Duke is I think Auburn is a better team and a deeper team, but ceiling wise, I think Duke has the higher ceiling.
And they beat them. They beat them before.
And they have a better. I think they have a better player.
At Cameron Indoor.
Better
but,
top
yeah,
player.
better. I think Broom is the best player in the country, but Flag's obviously going to have the better career in the NBA.
Speaking of Auburn, when they played Kentucky, Janai Broom had a bad first half. I think he had I don't think he scored a point until
No, he didn't.
the 2-minute mark in the first half.
Yep.
And they were up 10. Or they could have been up more. I'm not exactly sure.
That was the same thing against Bama. He had 4 points in the first half, and they were up by 9.
That team is loaded, man.
Yeah,
They're very good. I would also say I'm still on Kentucky as well. Butler was back for their last game, but I still think they're dealing with injuries. I still think Kentucky can make a run in March.
Though they definitely won't lose their first round like they did the last couple years.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Before Coach K left. But I talking about the SEC, we sent Bama, Tennessee. I was listening on the radio, boys. They went on a 7-0 run in the last 30 seconds. They got an and one, and then no check. Got the rebound off the and one, put back, tied it up, and then Bama, they called a timeout with 3 seconds left, and they couldn't inbound it. I mean, it was crazy, and then
Wait. I was eating during that game. I was at dinner with my girlfriend.
yeah,
We went to Green Lantern, by the way. Have you guys ever had that?
No, but I heard the pizza's really good.
Pizza.
it's solid. Yeah, it's been a couple years, but I like it.
Yeah, pizza fucks, man. It has so much sex.
Shout out Green Lantern.
Shout out Green Lantern. There's some everywhere across Metro Detroit. But wait, what did you just say? I had something to say.
Bama had the ball. It was tied with just over 3 seconds left, and they couldn't inbound the ball. It was a 5-second violation.
5-second violation. Okay, I was confused. I thought you said they called a timeout.
They called a timeout, and then,
they couldn't inbound.
off the inbound, they couldn't. They called a timeout, and they still couldn't inbound the ball. And then Tennessee took I don't know I can't remember if they called a timeout after that, but inbounded the ball. No, they didn't because they had one timeout left. Inbounded it. There was 1.5 seconds left. The guy just was it Nashak maybe?
I don't know.
Nashak crosses midcourt, and Amari Clifford is basically at the free throw line, and there was a screen, and so he had to come up and help. 1.5 seconds left, and he's at the free throw line. Nashak crosses half court, and the thing is, Rick Barnes wanted a timeout. He was calling timeout. Nashak in the air, ball's mid-flight, and Rick Barnes is disgusted. Hand in the air. Couldn't believe it. He was pissed. Half a second later, drained it, and he was stunned. He couldn't believe it. So Tennessee got a break, but at the same time,
So they didn't call the time. He didn't get the timeout in time.
no, the refs didn't see it. He was basically right in the ref's ear, but in the heat of the moment, the ref is focusing on the play going on.
Right.
You want to see if there's any fouls and whatnot. And so he didn't get the timeout. He was disgusted. Still drained the shot. It was crazy. But the thing is, Clifford Amore, he was on the free throw line, and he ended up contesting it, but it was a late contest. And if he was at the 3-point line, he might have even potentially blocked it. And if he didn't, I definitely would have altered the shot, and he would have missed. So, Bama, they're folding in these tight crunch situations. I don't like the direction they're going into. And Tennessee, I don't know if they can definitely go to the Final Four, but I think it's going to be Sweet 16, Elite 8 for them.
Yeah, I feel like it's always the same story with Tennessee. Like they at their best they're so good and they can win a national championship, but it's about consistency, and they always seem to have a game where they can't hit shots and they just don't show up. And I like Chaz Lanier, but it's like, is that your number one guy?
Right.
I don't think you can win or get to the Final Four at least.
He would have to be
with
perfect.
Chaz Lanier, with him being your number one guy.
They're good defensively, but then they always play a good offensive team late in the tournament,
right.
and they can't consistently play good defense across 40 minutes against that team. Last year it was Purdue. 2 years ago, I think it was Florida Atlantic they lost to. So like, it's the same thing every time. Rick Barnes, it used to be he couldn't get to the second weekend. Now they can, but now it's getting to that third weekend.
Right.
So I was just picturing, because when I was looking back and watching that Tennessee buzzer beater when Meshack hit that final three, I thought what happened was the coach called a timeout, and he went like this. Like, imagine if that timeout happened and everyone stormed the court already.
Oh man!
Like the whole the student section stormed the court. Imagine if they had to come back
and
play overtime. Imagine how shitty that coach would feel.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be so funny.
Let's talk about the Big Ten a little bit. Tough loss for Michigan today.
Brutal. He's like 8-24. Trust me, this is way better. But I was stress free at 8-24. Like I almost lost my voice today. I lost it last week. It's so stressful when you're in a Big Ten championship regular season title. But I kind of have to remind myself that the tournament is a big factor. But it's a big dance for a reason. But it was the performance today was awful. Their performance in the first 30 minutes against Rutgers was awful, and they needed a miracle play at the end.
Mm.
They scored 49 points on Monday when we were recording last week's pod. Somehow won. So they're dancing with fire right now.
They are
dancing with fire.
It's obviously March. March came early a little bit for them, but then they had a stinker today. So I will say 3 games in 7 days is tough.
Tough, yeah.
They were in 2 barn burners, different kind of games. They won 49-45 on Monday, and then they gave up 57 points in the first half on Thursday to Rutgers. So 2 completely different games, but they closed those games out. They were down 31-30. I thought they closed the first half well today, and then they gave up 62 points in the second half. So they gave up 62 points and a half today and 57 on Thursday in the first half. That's simply not good enough, especially in March.
They play, in my opinion, the 2 best.
They do.
The 2 best teams in the Big Ten in Maryland and Michigan State to close the season.
I'll be happy with a win. I want to win both. still want to get a share of the Big Ten, but if they play like they did this week, they're going to lose both games.
How do you guys feel about this? I think the 2 teams in the Big Ten that can make the Final Four, Michigan State and Maryland.
Yeah. Maryland. The thing with Maryland is they're not deep enough.
They're not deep at all, but they may have the best starting 5 in the Big Ten.
I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that, but then they got no one.
Right.
They would be happy to have us 3 come off the bench. I do agree with you. They have the best 5. Them and Michigan State. Michigan, Roddy Gale he's 1 for 26.
They just don't have guards. They don't have a reliable guard.
I think Wisconsin can make the Final Four.
I told you they're February merchants. What did they do today? They shit the bed, and they were supposed to be a good offensive team.
So they were
62 again. Michigan State is a really good defensive squad. So, but it comes March and they play a competitive team and they lose every time. It never fails.
I've watched their last 3 games, and I'm not gonna lie. Today, it gave me more confidence.
Why?
Why do you say that?
It gave me more confidence. They were 5 for 32 from shooting from 3-point.
That's what they do every time in March, though.
I mean, you can't compare this year to years past. It's a new team.
With very similar
Same
players.
coach.
They did have Klesman out. Yeah, same coach.
Klesman was out.
So basically, John
Is he gonna be healthy soon?
I think so. He played. I mean, I'm not sure. He played like last week when I watched him.
That game should have been a blowout. Like Wisconsin shouldn't have even been within 5 points going into the final few minutes. Like that game should have been long gone that long ago. I feel
so
like
you see it as a good loss.
I see it as, I mean, you couldn't have played worse on offense. Like you couldn't make a single shot outside of the paint, and they still
Hung in there.
competed at MSU at the Breslin Center.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was a good loss, and they didn't have Klesbit, who's a good 3-point shooter.
I see what you're saying.
So I feel like, and John Tonje shot 3 for 13.
Tonji's really good.
And McGee, who
He'll
shoots
play
over
better than that.
50% from 3, shot 0 for 5.
But the heat of March, sometimes it gets to you.
That's true. Some people aren't built for it.
Like I like Greg Gard. I think he's done a very good job there, but it's the same story every year.
It does seem to be their best offensive
It is.
team.
But again,
Probably since the Kaminsky teams.
5 for 32. That's not good enough.
Yeah,
either.
that's not good.
So you think they're going to shoot 5 for 32 every game for the rest of the season?
Not every game, but
That's my point. I feel like if you can compete while shooting 5 for 32.
Like they couldn't have, you're saying that they couldn't play any worse and they only lost by 9.
If you shoot 9 for 32, which is still not good, you know, like
They probably win that game.
They probably win the game.
yeah, but trust me, they'll shoot 5 for 32 in the first or second round.
Hey, I'm not saying you're wrong.
And I'm warning you right now.
I'm not saying you're wrong. You might be right. You probably will be right. You know more about college ball than me. But what I'm saying is, what I saw from them today, I wouldn't be discouraged if I was like Big Cat or a Wisconsin fan.
No, I get it if it was like the first year, but I've seen this same story for 8 years in a row. That's why I'm hesitant on them.
That's fair. Speaking of Michigan, by the way,
Yes.
of that Illinois game, I was listening to Chris Castellani's recap of the game, and he had the same exact thought as me. He brought it out first though, because he does
They were due.
They were so due. I'm
Yeah.
looking. So I looked back at their schedule. Their last 8 games since they got that blowout loss, they've won every game by less than 4 points.
They have the record. They have 12 wins by 4 or fewer points in the Big Ten. That's already a record, and that's going to be more than like 13 or 14 teams total. Like they're not like 13 or 14 teams aren't even going to have 12 wins in the Big Ten period, and they have 12 of those. 12 of their 13 wins. No, what are they? 14-4. Yeah, 14-4, and 12 of them are 4 points or fewer. So it's been a crazy Big Ten, and they just got to keep it close. But I'm fearful that when they lose, it's going to be like a game like we saw today, and their last 3 losses have been by double digits.
Does the free throw shooting concern you?
I mean, yes, it does, but again, they didn't lose today because of free throw. They lost because they gave up 20 offensive rebounds, and the turnovers are definitely a bigger issue. I thought when it came to the first shot, they played good defense, but they just didn't box out. And I mean, Roddy Gale, if he's made, like I said, 1 for 26 since the calendar flip, it's not good enough. Don't shoot if. It's like almost like he's got to see one through, but that's been like.
I'm wondering if
the
he should
whole
still
year.
be getting minutes.
Yeah.
Like he has been horrible. Who's that first year guy that's been
Jones?
No, someone else. I think. Kaysen?
Oh, Kaysen, yeah.
Kaysen should be in.
Yeah.
Him, I think.
Kaysen's getting more minutes. Jones had the flu bug, and then another guy too. Walters is hurt. I mean, he could get his minutes too. He's not as good of a defender, but he can at least make a 3. So it was, the first 2 games, obviously, earlier this week, where it was good to get a win, but yeah, they were overdue, and they got their asses beat. And Illinois was due for a good performance, but it is concerning. They lost by 40 last week to Duke, and they just beat Michigan by 20. But another thing too, I know we talked about MSU Wisconsin, but MSU Maryland, that was a crazy game. And
What an ending.
And as Izzo was right, he's like, we deserve to win this game. I know it was a half quarter we won on, but they gave up a couple turnovers at the end. They were up by 4, or I think they were up by like 8.
Yeah, they were in control of the game, and then all of a sudden, like Maryland hit like 7 or 8 free throws in a row.
That score was, they were down 24-23 at half. This is exactly, even though they're losing, this is exactly what MSU wants to do. They want to muck it up because they know at the end of the game, Maryland only plays 5 guys, so they're going to tire them out, control the game at the end, which they did. Maryland had one last spurt, and I know. Talk to me about that Maryland's last shot. I know you hated it.
Oh, Jacoby. What's his last name? Jacoby. Jacoby.
Is it Walters?
No,
I got you.
No, I got it. Yosivaj or something, or Jacoby Gillespie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacoby Gillespie, he's one of their best players, I believe. Let me check out.
All their starters are their best players. Any of them can go off any night.
Yeah, but that pissed me off. Maven, I want to hear your reaction to this game, but I just, how do you not shoot that ball when the buzzer hits? You're giving that other team an opportunity to go down the field and, shoot up a prayer. And also that Holloway, he did it again today with 2 seconds left. He should be getting all those last second heaves. So yeah, Maven, what were your thoughts on that game?
Really what I said earlier, I came away from that game thinking these are the 2 best teams in the Big Ten and really the only 2 teams I could see from the Big Ten making it to the Final Four. Michigan fans, close your ears. This is both of you guys don't listen to this, okay? If I'm a Michigan fan, if I was a team that draws them in the first round or even the second round, I feel great about my chances about an upset.
So someone said today, a Michigan fan on Twitter, he said the 13th seed that draws Michigan is going to be jumping up and down for
Definitely.
No,
because the way they're playing and their last 2 games are against Maryland and State, and they could easily lose those 2 games.
I think this is why I want the Big Ten regular season, because it has been creeping in my head. I'm like, I will not be shocked. I'll be pissed, but I would not be shocked if they lose in the first round.
Would you consider that a failure of a season, or is it already a success?
No, it's hard to call it a failure of the season because they went 8-24. But it would be a bad ending for sure. Reeling is not the right word, but if they lose next 2, I would not be shocked either if they lose both their games. I hope they win both of them, and I hope they win Wednesday because it would set up for at least it would be a Big Ten regular season championship finale in the regular season, which is you don't really get that too often.
Right.
But no, I wouldn't be shocked. And to your point, Hef, about my thoughts on the Maryland, on Gillespie's last shot, you see this all the time, and it's kind of mind-boggling, especially high school, it's understandable, but in college and pros, the amount of times that I see a quick shot, a player not knowing the situation, because he shot that from 22, 23 feet. It's your point that you said the other day, just attack the rim. But I said, and I agreed with you, but I just said he wasn't aware of the time. They just 4 seconds, I got to shoot it now. But you saw how much time that is, because he shot it with 4 seconds left. MSU got the rebound. They passed it. Holloway, 1 or 2 dribbles, half quarter, and I'm like, that's it. I mean, that was a good shot because he was wide open. Obviously, he had to shoot it, but that was a better shot than Gillespie's.
Yeah, the buzzer beater that Michigan State had and the buzzer beater that Michigan had. Michigan State deserved to win that game either way. Michigan didn't deserve to beat Rutgers, in my opinion.
I agree.
So they weren't the same weight to me. I mean, obviously a win's a win, and you want to beat them. And also Michigan was home. And,
and Rutgers is bad. Rutgers is not a good team.
I really like their top 2 players, but
they're really good. Those 2 guys, Bailey and Harper, are really good.
And then Acuff had a good game, but
their
that was
team is bad.
Acuff had a revenge game because he went to Cass Tech.
Oh, he
did? He went to Eastern or Western.
Okay.
And then he transferred to Rutgers eventually. But he had a good game. But yeah, other than those 2 guys, they're not getting very much production.
I was looking at the NBA mock draft for next year. And Cooper Flack's obviously number 1, and then the 2 and 3 are the 2 Rutgers guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
They're legit.
They're good too. They missed shots that they were making in the first 30 minutes of the game in the last 10 11 minutes of that game. So we said it, and Michigan fans knew they were due for a loss like this. Hopefully they can flush it out. Yeah, I know. I just noticed that too. But Yeah, they're kind of scaring me right now. But again, you got to get hot at the right time. And so if they can figure it out next week and look good in the Big Ten tournament, I'll have my faith again. But just they gotta play a complete game, and they haven't done that in a while. And one more team I want to talk about. We were watching it last night. We brought up the team they lost to. They had not lost. Texas A&M has now lost 4 in a row. But that was my first time really sitting down and watching Florida, and they have a lot of depth.
Florida's really
too,
good.
and their starters are very good too. What did you take away from that game?
I took away that when I'm filling out my bracket, I'm gonna have them in my finals.
Finals?
I'm gonna have them in my finals. Yeah, everything.
Ooh.
I liked everything about that team.
Florida's really good.
Will Richards on fire. Is that his first? Will Richard? And they have that Clayton guy.
Walter Clayton. He's a dog.
Yeah, and then they have just a bunch of white guys on the
Big white dudes.
big white dudes.
Howe and Condon.
Yeah, they said one of their guys was supposed to be redshirted this year, and he came back. Do you know about this, Maimon? He's I don't know his name. I think Handlockton. This guy. He was supposed to be like pretty good. I guess he's not that good. But they mentioned him on the They mentioned him on the broadcast.
Is he that 7'9" guy?
Yeah, 7'9".
Oh no, that's Olivier.
They have a
He's got
7'9"
like a
guy.
very French Canadian name,
Isn't he hurt or something?
something like that.
Yeah.
And the game before Texas A&M, they were down 25 points
Yep.
to who was it again? Do you remember? They were down or Bean?
Let me look.
They were down
at it
25 points to I forgot who, and they came back and won that game, like it was nothing.
Yeah, they're a legit team.
They're a legit team, and I just love their team
Georgia.
chemistry.
They had the lead in the last minute, then they got sloppy again. But
At Georgia,
it is impressive.
I
Yeah,
like their team.
They're going to be tough to beat. Clayton's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Clutch player too.
Richard or Richard, I can't remember how you pronounce it, but he's a lights out shooter.
Mm-hmm.
The two big guys. What I like about their big guys is they're both north to south players.
Mm-hmm.
They have an outside game. They're good passers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's with good guards too. So they're a complete team for sure. I'm with him, Aben. I'm gonna have A&M maybe win one game, but that's it. They're not winning
A&M's
2
not
games.
Good. Mississippi State's sort of cut from the same cloth. They're just
Yep.
all defense and just they try to take you to the mud. But if they go up against any sort of offensive like juggernaut of a team, they're gonna lose early. St. John's.
I was thinking them and shout out them in Houston. They're both
The Patino suit was incredible. The
White
suit.
out, baby.
Oh my god.
That was sexy. First time since '85 they won the Big East outright.
Wow.
And Houston, they've started out 4-3. Now they're 17-1 in the Big 12. Kind of like Auburn, they're cut from the same cloth a little bit in that they're Big East the Big 12 and the SEC are the two best conferences in my opinion, top to bottom in college basketball, and they're both 17-1. It's remarkable. Houston deserves some flowers for sure. They just beat Texas Tech on Monday, top 10 team.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Texas Tech had some guys out, but they're good. And then shout out Texas Tech for beating Kansas. Texas
is
Tech.
terrible. Hunter Dickinson.
Yep.
I was gonna ask you about Kansas. I was gonna ask you because weren't they preseason ranked?
Top
They were
10.
top
We talked
3. They were
about
like top 3.
we
I
talked
think.
about it last week. Half of the
we did.
AP top 10ers not ranked half.
I have a question for you too. I'm looking at the scoreboard from Saturday, and a question just popped in my mind. I want both you guys to answer this pretty briefly, but I'm just wondering what your guys' thoughts on this. St. John's, Iowa State, Texas Tech. If you had to rank them on who can make a run deep, how would you rank them? Texas Tech.
What do you say, Bean?
I'm gonna go 1 St. John's, 2 Iowa State. I think those two teams are like very, very similar. I actually kind of want them to be 2 and 3 in the same region. I want to see them in the Sweet 16 playing each other because I think they're identical.
That'd be a great
I think
game.
St. John's is a tad bit better. I like their guards a little bit, and Iowa State has, in terms of scoring, better bigs. They have like Momcilovic or something. He's kind of good.
Momcilovic.
Yeah, he's good, but again, if he's going against St. John's big men, I think they're going to shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
So I would 1 St. John's, 2 Iowa State, 3 Texas Tech. If Texas Tech shoots the way they did yesterday in the first half they made 10 threes, and then I think they were 1 for 12, and then they made 2 or 3 in the last couple minutes. If they shoot the ball like they did, they can make a deep run, but that's how I would order them. And they got to stay
similar. Healthy. I was gonna go St. John's 1, but I really like Iowa State. 1, their guard play. I think Lipsey's is a really good player, and they have maybe the best 6-man in the country. I forget his name though.
Is it Chatfield? Iowa State? Jones?
No, I think it's Jones maybe.
Curtis Jones.
I know who you're talking about, maybe.
Yeah, Curtis Jones. He's a big time player. Off the bench for him as well. They just have good guard play. I really like their coach. I am concerned though. There's some rumors about him taking the Indiana job.
I was just about to, Indiana needs to go full throttle on him, and I'm always going to support him because shout out Western Illinois. At the time, they're not in the Summit League anymore, but they were in the same conference as South Dakota State. That was his first stop, and his teams are awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're still pretty good. But yeah, he's a hell of a coach, and now he's at Iowa State. If I'm Indiana, I'm blank check. He needs to be their next head coach.
That would be my only concern if he has like 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's such a good coach. I feel like he's going to be committed to whatever he's doing now.
Exactly.
And his team, they battled some injuries, so that's why they haven't been, playing at a high level like a Florida or a Duke or an Auburn. But I still think they're a top caliber team, and I think St. John's is maybe just a tad below. I love what you said, Bean. I think that St. John's is a lot better defensively, but Iowa State has a bit more offensively to give.
Yeah,
so that's
they're
why
good.
I give
They're
the
good
nod.
defensively too, but I think St. John's is a tad bit better. Yeah, it's Curtis Jones. He's averaging just under 17 points a game. So
Off the bench, holy shit.
Yeah, and their other
beast.
guard with with Lipsey, he's averaging 13.8 Keyshawn Gilbert. So
Lipsey's, so all their guards are very mature, very calm. They don't really let them. Lipsey especially, he doesn't get rushed or anything. He's always playing at his own pace. So guard play is a big part of it as well. Why I would put Iowa State 1, St. John's 2. I do love St. John's as their defense, and they play so hard. And Texas Tech, even though I put them at 3, I could see Texas Tech making a run. They're playing good ball as of late, and it's big really how you play down the stretch. You look at a team like who was the team last year that was it Louisville with Burns?
No, not NC State.
Oh, NC State. Yes.
I got a take on
man. They
Is that fat motherfucker?
yeah. Burns.
So
big dude, but I mean they just got hot at the right time and made the run all the way to the Final Four.
Here is my sleeper because NC State. Obviously, they had to win the ACC.
Clemson?
No, not Clemson.
Clemson's my sleeper.
The power, I think, if you have last year NC State, obviously Burns, infinite aura. Remember they came out, their team manager had a boombox.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Yep.
Wait, was that didn't that just happen?
So this year, this version, they were in the tournament last year. They have a great coach in Will Wade, McNeese. Their team manager, Amir Khan.
He's electric.
If you have not seen the video, he's got a big boombox. He's got a strap around his neck, and he's just he's rapping Lud Foe with the team, and the team is loving it. And then every time the N-word comes out, he's covering his mouth. He's absolutely electric.
He's a beast.
So honestly, I saw Lenardi. He posted every Tuesday and Friday his bracketology.
Mm-hmm.
On his last bracketology that came out Friday, I'm putting NC State at least in my Elite Eight.
McNeese.
McNeese. Elite Eight, maybe even Final Four.
Just because of vibes. Their vibes are incredible.
If you have a vibe guy, team manager, vibe guy, you maybe definitely second.
They may
weekend.
be a 12 seed, but in reality, they're probably like a 6 seed.
Yeah. So shout out McNeese. Shout out Amir Khan. Also, his bio. He's like, if wiping floor and handing out towels was a stat, I'd be Wilt Chamberlain. That guy, Amir Khan,
Oh, man,
MVP.
what a line. I'm with you, Bean.
So, yeah.
All in on McNeese.
We're getting a little bit long here, but I just want to say before we wrap it up, We will be in 2 weeks now. Selection Sunday is 2 weeks from today. So in just over 2 weeks, we will be filling out a bracket, all three of us. That will be our show, so we're excited to do that. And guys, March is here.
The
and
madness is here.
Best time of year.
Maven, I have a quick question for you.
I have a quick answer.
Because you, under your breath, you kind of said Clemson is your sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to mention Clemson as the fourth team out of those four.
Scheffler.
Would you put Clemson
Shufflin.
ahead of St. John's as a team that can go your way? Because you did say they were your sleeper, and I want to know why they were your sleeper.
They made the Elite Eight last year.
Yeah, it's mostly because of that. It's mostly because they made the Elite Eight and they brought back a lot of the same dudes, and
they got the chef,
and they beat Duke as well. So
yep.
I
still apologize, Hef, to you. I should have told you to take them, and I'm not going to live that one down.
Still have St. John's over them, but they're sort of in the same tier where I would not be surprised if both of those teams are in an Elite Eight spot with a chance to go to the Final
They're going to be in
Four.
the top 10 this week. They're 13. A lot of teams in front of them lost. So they're going to be a top 10. They're right there.
Clemson's legit.
But, again, it wouldn't shock me if just because they overperformed, they might be due for underachievement. But the chef is electric.
Who's the chef?
Shefflin, I think's his name. They had those two. He's one of the centers. They had him and
Is he the
PJ
white
Hall.
guy?
Yeah, the curly hair, I believe.
Okay. OT.
So, yeah, very good team. Go ahead, Hef.
I wanted to say this real quick. You guys were mentioning Clemson because they beat Duke or whatever.
Yes.
We posted a TikTok, Loose Balls Pod 1, if you guys aren't following. We posted a TikTok and you were in it, and it was about Missouri and like other teams that you think could make a run, I believe. And one of our followers commented, Missouri has 3 top 5 wins. Is that true? They said they have 3.
Who'd they beat? They beat Kentucky?
They beat Bama.
But
they just lost to Vandy yesterday.
Vandy's okay. There's just so many like decent. It's hard to judge the SEC because there's so many decent. It's so deep that you could lose any given night to a middle of the road team and still it's still a decent.
Yeah,
loss.
they beat Bama.
And I'm only seeing. Wait.
They beat Florida. Florida was number 5, 83 to 82. They beat one in December. Yes, and they beat Kansas. Kansas was number 1 way
Kansas
back in
is bad.
December.
So I guess that counts.
Yes. Isn't that crazy? They were number 1 in December, and now they're not even ranked.
They're so bad.
So my dad was telling me yesterday that they're gonna try to put. They think they're gonna try to put Kansas and Michigan very close to each other in the bracket.
Why's that?
Just so Dickinson could play Michigan.
Oh,
Just for the
that'd be
ratings.
great for storylines.
I was thinking about that, Hef, not about a couple weeks ago, but Kansas has fallen off even more, and Michigan they're going to be like a 4 seed. Kansas will have to make a deep run in order, but that is a great point by your dad. But I just think Kansas is going to be a 7 or 8 seed.
Yeah.
And if they somehow, if they go on a run, I think they play Iowa State next week or Houston. If they win out and win the Big 12, they can definitely go up to a 5. But it's going to have to be a 4 and 5 matchup.
They're playing such bad basketball. I think you know what they look like, Bean? They look like a team that knows that they haven't hit expectations, and they're down on themselves for how poorly they played compared to the expectations earlier this season.
100%. It's so weird too because they're all seniors. They've all been in college basketball forever. So I don't get it. But who knows? They could be a sleeper team, but they're gonna have to prove something these next 2 weeks.
Right.
We good for college hoops?
We're good.
One last word.
That was a good conversation.
Yes, sir. That was a good 45-minute combo right there on college hoops. Plenty of more to come. It's March. We could go on for another day about college hoops, but we'll wrap it up there.
The madness is here. Let's enjoy it, baby.
Enjoy it while it lasts. Absolutely. So now moving on to the NFL. We had, obviously, the NFL Combine. We'll get into some of the main stories. But first, we're going to talk about a Shefty bomb that happened yesterday. The Washington Commanders got Deebo Samuel from the 49ers. Now, I'm not shocked that he was traded, but I'm stunned that Washington only had to give out a 5th-round pick for him. I know his contract is hefty, obviously. He got a contract extension a year or two ago. But in my opinion, this is a steal. They needed a wide receiver. Now they can focus mainly on defense and offensive line. Boys, what did you think of the trade?
A win for the Commanders, like you said, only giving up a 5th-round pick. When you got a guy like Jaden Daniels, you got a young quarterback on a rookie deal, you have to, and you know that he's the guy, you have to do what you can to surround him by the right pieces, and it's a good start. Now, obviously, they still need to, you can always use more O-linemen, and two, the defense. They got to figure out the defensive situation because they were lucky to be in the spot that they were with how bad their defense was last year. Improvements from the year before, but if they want to seriously contend, they got to upgrade the defense. I do like the move. I mean, why not go get Deebo Samuel? But I don't know about you guys, but not super high on Deebo. He's always hurt. He's 29. I don't know if he's a great locker room guy.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I like the move just because I like Jaden Daniels, but I don't think he's going to be an impact player. And he's the number 2 guy. He's not going to be Terry's the number 1 guy in Washington.
The thing I love about Deebo is you can use him in many different ways.
Very versatile.
But like you said, his injuries, especially last year, are eventually going to catch up to him. But again, you got Scary Terry. Now you have Deebo. So I think they're just getting more versatile. Now they have 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round pick I just checked, so they can go on their other needs. They have 6 total draft picks. So I loved that draft for them, or excuse me, that trade for them. What was your initial thoughts when you saw that Shefty bomb?
Initial thoughts were, how is that going to affect my fantasy football lineup? Because I have McLaurin, and I think it's going to
Probably good for you.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. But overall, I mean, for the Commanders, it's meh. Yeah, it's a good move. It's not like groundbreaking to me.
Right.
I mean, I knew Deebo was going to get out of there, and we knew the Commanders needed another receiver, so it's not like the most shocking news in the world. But once again, I'm excited. I agreed with both you guys, actually. I agree with Bean. I'm excited to see how they use him because Jane Daniels is the closest thing as a runner to Lamar. No one's close to Lamar. But, like, Daniels is probably the 2nd best rushing quarterback in the NFL. And
He broke rookie records. So
I'm excited to see how him and Deebo, like, if they do some read options. They'll probably put him in the backfield here and there. I don't know. I'm excited to see how it works out. I don't see him – I don't know. But I'm also with you. Like, how good is he now? Because he hasn't. He was injured a little bit this year. In the games he played, he didn't really impress anyone.
Right.
And I'm not too high on Deebo as well, but maybe he just needed to get out of San Francisco. But I will say for a fact, Jaden Daniels will get the most out of him because he's already one of the up and coming quarterbacks and debatably a top 7-8 guy already.
And Cliff is going to use him too very well. And don't forget, Cliff coached against him too, and when he was Arizona's head coach. So he's very familiar. I think it's just another weapon. I agree with you. His number 1 days are probably over. But again, they don't need him to be a number 1. They need him to be a number 2. And he's going to space out the field very well. And I wasn't shocked, obviously, that the trade happened. I was just shocked that the 5th round, it seems like a steal for me. But time will tell.
I feel like players of that caliber these days, like, like you would expect them to go for more, but like they never do.
Right.
It's
always a 4th round. Like
back in the day when Darius Slay got traded from the Lions, we gave up. What did we give up? Like a 3rd round pick,
right?
Like a 4th round.
Unless
pick,
it's like a Khalil Mack, or like a top edge quarterback, top edge pass rusher, or a quarterback. You're not. It's like you said. It's always a 5th, 4th, 3rd round at best. So you are right about that half, and his contract definitely had to do something with that. But I think it's a steal for them.
And on the flip side too, it's a win for the Niners in my eyes. They're able to move that contract without having to eat it. Like you guys have been saying, like they only get a 5th round pick, but they were probably looking for people to take him on because of his contract and because of the injury history. So the fact they were able to move him, I think, is a huge win, especially with the other big contracts that they have on that team. And they clearly need to make some moves because
they need to re-sign Brock
how
Purdy.
bad. Yeah, they got to sign Purdy as well.
Yep.
But they something was wrong with them this past year. They needed to make the change. And of all of their core guys, Deebo's probably the most – the least important. So it was a good move for them, and they have other receivers in Ayuk. I really like Ayuk, and Pearsall played well when he played. Juwan Jennings is solid.
He's the best number 3, I think, at least up there in my eyes. And good GMs, they hit home runs in the 5th round.
Right.
So in the later rounds.
I think. So you're saying it's a win-win. Yeah, I agree. I would agree. Like, I don't know. The trade didn't move me that much, but the reason San Francisco wasn't that dominant last year is because everyone and their moms got injured.
Right.
Every single player on that team was injured. Their defense was blown up. Bosa barely played. Fred Warner got banged up a little bit. Who else got hurt? Kinlaw? Was Kinlaw out for a little bit?
It was very similar when they went to the Super Bowl 5 years ago. They had injuries left and right.
Yeah. It's like almost – well, not even close to like the Lions defense, but
they were the closest team.
Yeah.
Injury-wise, but they had a little bit more scattered out between offense and defense, where the Lions obviously just was majority defense. But, yeah, they needed to sign Purdy, and I forget his first name, but Campbell was clearly a locker room cancer. Yeah, Kinlaw.
Devondre Campbell?
Yes. Kinlaw's the linebacker, right, Huff? And he came back. Yeah, that was the guy who came back late in the season because remember he had that freak injury in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When I think he was just running out on the field.
Yeah.
Tore his meniscus or Achilles.
Achilles, I believe.
And then he came back, and then that was the Thursday night football game where he came back and they didn't play Campbell. And he I think didn't he leave the field early or was trashing him in the locker room?
I don't
Maybe
know.
both.
But there was some sort of story like that.
So clearly he was a cancer. So I don't know. I think they'll be fine.
They're also getting rid of. I think they already they're getting rid of Charvarius Ward too.
Future Lion. Book it.
I don't know. I'm looking at this article right now. They're 49ers projected to acquire $45 million Chargers star to replace Charvarius Ward, but they're leaving me on a teaser.
Asante Samuel.
Potentially.
Looks like Asante Samuel.
Yeah. But, the draft and free agency is right around the corner.
Asante Samuel. Yep.
Junior.
Free agency, I think it's in a week or two. And we're almost a month and a half from the draft. It's April 24th. Speaking of the draft, we had the Combine week. Mabin, you owe us not an apology, but you owe an explanation from Isaiah Bond. So Mabin is a big Isaiah Bond guy. I liked him. He went to Bama. And
maybe not anymore. He's cashing checks that he clearly cannot.
Yeah.
He cannot cover.
So Isaiah Bond, former Bama receiver, and he played at Texas this past year. If you have not heard, he said he was going to run a 4.1 or 4.2 in the 40.
Yeah.
And he was not even close. He ran a 4.41.
Which
now, I know that's only 0.2 of a second.
That's
but
a big difference. That's a big difference.
A 4.1 is a record.
Right.
So, yeah, maybe you owe us an apology and the fans an explanation.
I think if anyone owes an apology, it's Isaiah Bond.
Well,
secondly,
since we can't get him, the number one Isaiah Bond fan is going to have to do
you know what I think it is, Bean? He has done a good job at selling himself, and I've fallen in love with the idea of Isaiah Bond.
Okay.
Not the reality of Isaiah Bond. He looks the part, but when you see the tape and you see him as a player, he's hurt a lot, and two, sometimes jumping around from program to program is, you can get it, you can understand it, but it could also be a bad sign of someone who's, not a great locker room guy and not a great personality to have around your team. And, a guy who's going around saying he's going to run a 4.1, 4.2, and then ends up running a 4.4, there's probably something wrong there. And I don't love what he's doing. And I think I may be off Isaiah Bond.
No,
I may be off that.
I don't blame you at all. I'll
say this though, who's someone my guy, Shador Sanders. I do not understand.
I'm riding him with you.
I just don't understand all the negativity. I guess I do, just because whenever it's Dion, anything related to Dion, people are just going to automatically shit on whatever it is, and it's his son. So all the Dion haters are going to go after Shador. But if you have eyeballs, if you have legitimate eyeballs, and you're watching some of the Colorado games, which watched a lot this season, Shador he didn't have a great O-line. He had a better O-line this year than last year, but he makes so many plays.
He does.
With not the best O-line, did have great receivers, but that offense, and you could say whatever you want about Travis Hunter, he's a great player, but that offense revolved around Shador and what he could do, and he showed up time and again and made big-time plays. People are going to trash him for the bowl game, and he didn't play well, but if you look at his whole body of work, not just last year, but the year before, he is an absolute playmaker. And he has something about him. It's that it factor. You don't really know what it is. You can't really put your finger on it, but if you got eyeballs and you know the game of football, you can tell that he's a big-time player. And I do like Cam Ward. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Shador's my number one. He's 1-1 in the draft for me.
100% agree.
I like at both of them because, like, that's another thing. Like, Combine weekend, it's like you go there, interview, and all the drills is like just turn on the tape.
Right.
And all those guys are going to perform at their pro day.
Now, I know Shador didn't throw, but he still interviewed with teams, right?
Yeah, he was there.
That's
all that matters.
Some people were trashing him for not throwing, and it's like
all the time, like Will Johnson.
He's
at
got
Michigan
nothing.
Didn't test.
Exactly.
Cam Ward, I don't even think Cam Ward showed up.
All of these top players, they have nothing to gain from competing at the combine.
They don't.
The only thing they can gain from is talking to the coaches.
Yes.
And talking X's and O's with them and showing off the mental side of the game.
Yeah.
That's really why they're there. The casuals that are saying, "Oh, why doesn't he throw? He's got so much to prove." He's got nothing to prove.
No.
If you watch the tape with Shador, he makes time and again NFL level throws that not a lot of people on the planet can make. So
so is he your 1-1?
Yeah. Well, I like Abdul Carter a lot too, but the quarterback position is a special position.
100%.
1-1.
Good little segue. Speaking of Abdul Carter, he obviously did not participate because his agent reported that he may need foot surgery. So
hate to see it.
He'll be fine. Everyone still expects him to go number 1 or top 5 or whatever. He's not going to fall in the draft, but he may need a screw in his foot. But that's another key storyline. But he'll be fine.
Who's got the first pick again? Is it the Browns or the Titans? Titans got to take a quarterback, right?
I would take Shador or
I bet you I feel
Sanders
like
or
I just see
Ward.
Cam Ward in a Titans jersey.
Cam Ward. It seems
that.
like the NFL GMs and executives are falling in love with Cam Ward, so he's probably going to go number 1. Cleveland is forever and always will be a dumpster fire, so they'll probably pass on.
They might need Abdul Carter.
Yeah, they'll probably take him to replace Garrett, and then the Giants. If the Giants for some reason don't take Shador, it will be the biggest. It will be
biggest botch ever.
It will be
They're done.
The Bears passing on Mahomes sort of thing.
They might as well fire Joe Shane and Dable.
Or the Giants drafting or Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Was that in the same draft?
Yeah, it was.
Was that the same draft?
Yeah, that would have been a better. Yeah, that would have been better to bring up.
But dude, imagine Shador Sanders
With
and
Malik
Malik
Neighbors?
Neighbors together, and Tyrone Tracy at running back, who's I think he proved himself last year to be a good player.
You are a competitive team for the next 10, 15 years. If the Giants don't get in their own way, they're going to be competitive.
You have to take him 100%. If he's there, like, don't even talk about it.
Right.
Just don't even answer calls for trades. Take him. You need a quarterback. You guys have been in fucking hell forever.
Yeah.
Just grab someone and you guys will be set.
What do they have? Sorry, 3?
Yeah, it goes Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots, Jaguars.
Yeah, Browns are going to replace Garrett. That's another thing, too. Like, we're not going to trade Garrett. You're going to take Abdul Carter at 2, and you're going to get a couple first rounds for Garrett.
If I'm Vegas or if I'm the Jets, even if I'm New Orleans, I'm doing whatever I can to move up to 2.
Patriots are going to take Hunter.
They should.
I mean, the Browns have could get a lot back because
Yeah.
they know the Giants behind them are going to take them. So they're probably trying to do anything they can.
If they're smart, they're leveraging that pick to get as much value as they can.
Exactly.
However, as I stated before, the Browns are an absolute dumpster fire, and they probably won't make the right move.
Yeah. Well, they need Abdul Carter, so I wouldn't unless they get a shit ton back. Which
Yeah,
I don't,
like three first-round picks. You
but
should be
teams
getting
aren't
back.
doing that anymore, so they probably
For a
won't.
quarterback, though, if someone falls in love with Shador,
We hear like it's smokescreen. We hear that they're gonna trade up, this team's gonna trade back with this team. It never happens. So,
the Bears did it, or Carolina did it with the Bears.
Yeah, that's true. But again, that's why teams don't do it because the next year, the Panthers were the
true.
worst team and they didn't have
They
their
didn't
pick.
have their pick. That's a good point.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We also had a source off. I don't know if you guys saw this. Ian Rappaport, who is an insider for NFL Network, got in a source off with Jordan Schultz in the Starbucks in the middle of the week. Jordan Schultz is an insider as well, but he's with Fox. And kind of a rat move by him. He threw his co-worker, Tom Brady, under the bus. He said that it was either that Tuesday or Wednesday of last week. He said that Brady and Stafford, Brady basically wooed Stafford to come on vacation, and they met up and they were talking about a trade, a potential trade to Vegas because Brady is the owner of the Vegas Raiders. And Rappaport, soonly after that, clarified that it was just a coincidence. They were in the same place, and no football was discussed.
Just a blatant lie from Schultz. He's just lying.
And
Just speculation.
And so the ironic part of that is they met in a Starbucks. Schultz's dad owns Starbucks. He was the owner of the Supersonics who traded them away to OKC. So very funny picture. I have it pulled up. I'll show you guys. Give me a sec. The Starbucks is right there. It's funny. Right over his head.
Right over his head.
And first of all, he's towering over Rappaport, which is hilarious.
He's a big dude.
And it's funny, too, because he's smiling in this picture, but apparently Schultz is like, fuck you, don't undermine me, fuck this, fuck that. And then Rappaport, low-key, a scum move, called NFL security on him.
But Schultz he initiated the scum moves.
Oh, he's...
One,
yeah,
he just blatant speculation and just not true. And two, like, really ratting out, like you said, his coworker, even though I bet if you asked Brady who this guy was, he would have no idea who he is. But they are coworkers, and he just like tried to rat out his coworker. Like, it's just a lame move. Yeah. Schultz, lame.
And which was even funnier, it was that a day later, or maybe 2 days later, LA was like, yeah, we're not trading Stafford. He's staying here. We're discussing a contract extension.
It makes no sense for them to trade Stafford.
No.
They were. You can make the argument that they were a few plays here and there from the Super Bowl.
They were a drive away.
They were one play away. They had a 3rd and 1 on the Eagles' 12.
And there's a couple other things that could have went differently. Like if Kyron Williams doesn't fumble that ball.
And Stafford, he fumbled too.
Yeah, there's a couple things where if things go their way, they're probably playing for a Super Bowl with a chance to win it. Mm-hmm. So I never got the Stafford trade talk.
Yeah, I never understood it.
Unless like there's some sort of rift between Stafford and McVay, but it seems like they're pretty tight.
No. Yeah, bad guy move by Schultz.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
100%. Yeah, one quick thing too is I gotta get the chirp in. I loved what Mason Graham said about the Ohio State game. He said, just turn on that tape, and that's all you gotta know.
Which is a hard line, but it's also true.
Yeah, it's true. And he didn't really compete either. He just did bench press. It was him and Kenneth Grant. They finished in the top 3 in bench press.
Grant said he lost some weight too, which is
good.
I like Mason Graham a lot, but I think Ken Grant's going to be a steal in this draft if he's not taken in the first 15.
He might fall to the Lions. I don't think if the Lions they traded up last year to get Arnold, they should do the same with Grant.
Yeah, he's a beast.
They should do whatever the fuck they can to win now.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Amen.
And he's a stud. And Donovan Edwards, for running backs, he benched the most at 225.
I saw that.
23.
Yeah, 23
This is going to
reps.
be an incredible running back class.
Yes.
There's probably
I was watching
close to 10 running backs in this class that can
Quinshon Judkins, Ashton Genty. Is Travion Henderson going too?
I think Travion is going to have a good, solid career. Omarion Miller, who's a UNC running back. The Kansas running back, I can't think of his name, but
Kansas
he's
State?
a beast.
DJ Giddens?
Not Kansas State, Kansas.
Kansas. I always love watching Kansas State. I didn't realize Giddens was that big. I mean, there's a lot of good running backs. This is going to be
like you said, Donovan Edwards. He's there.
There's going to be
Caleb Johnson.
He's a beast. He
Dylan Sampson,
tore up.
Judkins, Devin Neal.
Devin Neal's really
Cam
good.
Scadaboo.
Well,
Dude, Scadaboo's a beast. I love that guy.
I know, but I was about to say he's probably going to go 4th, 5th round. There's going to be running backs going in the 6th,
there's a
7th
spot for
round.
him in the NFL. There's a spot for him in the NFL.
He should play fullback.
He should.
But there's going to be
Like a B-back type, maybe a blocking
should
tight
he take
end.
over Kyle Juszczyk for the Niners?
Ooh. Maybe the Lions pick him up and use him in a Kyle Juszczyk role.
I wouldn't mind that.
That'd be so
That'd be
hot.
sweet.
But Tracy,
Scadaboo would look hot in Honolulu blue.
I would fuck him.
Okay, interesting. Cam
Moving
Scadaboo, if you get drafted by the Lions, you got one fan that wants to
you got
do the
some,
dirty.
And you got a place to stay.
Yeah, right.
But no, have you
Hit
said
up Ryan Heffernan. He'll show you a good time.
Yeah.
you said Tyrone Tracy's name earlier, Hef? I think he went in the 5th round, I believe, last year. There's going to be like 4 or 5 of Tyrone Tracy's this year in the draft that go late and maybe not start right away, but
They'll have
eventually
some sort
have
of
a very
impact.
good career in the
Yeah.
NFL.
Yeah.
All right, boys, you all set with
All set.
the trade and combine week?
All
Yeah.
set.
I mean, we'll be talking about free agency very shortly, and obviously the draft leading up to that, and recapping the draft in less than 2 months. So we're excited. Obviously, our favorite sport is football, so it's not really an off season, which I love.
Mm-hmm. No days off.
At least right after the season. So,
Facts.
all right, Huff, you got not a new segment, but
Yeah,
we're
a
going to be
segment.
doing gas or ass again.
I think this is the 3rd time we're doing gas or ass, I believe. So, yeah, the first player that comes to mind today is De'Aaron Fox.
Maybe you want to go?
Obviously, De'Aaron Fox just got traded from the Kings to the Spurs. Now he's playing with Wembanyama. He won Clutch Player of the Year, I believe, 2 years ago or maybe last year. What do you guys think?
There's.
Oh,
Speaking of
De'Aaron Fox, wow.
He's
How about
in
that
the
time?
together.
right now.
That's so funny.
Is
You bring
he,
up
is
De'Aaron
he in
Fox
right
and
now?
he starts scrapping.
I can't. Oh, yeah, he's in the middle,
there
isn't
somewhere.
Yeah, he is.
he? He's literally in the middle of this fight. This
That
is
is-
hilarious.
That is wild.
All right, I'm going gas just because of that, Maben.
That's crazy. Yeah, Gas.
That's fucking wild.
He's an interesting player. He has all the tools, and he is a good player. There's no doubt about it. There's just something missing. It just doesn't feel like he is like a type of player that's going to be a superstar in this league.
Yeah.
He's probably in the perfect spot for him because he doesn't have to be the number one guy
Right.
in San Antonio. So Gas, but if you're asking me,
to be a number one.
if you're asking him to be a number one and be a superstar on a team, that is not a team that's competing for championships.
I agree.
So he's in the perfect situation where he could be a number two and get Wemby the ball and do whatever he's got to do, but not all the pressure of being a number one.
I agree. I mean, we saw it in Sacramento. I think they peaked as a 4 seed, or yes, 3, or maybe it was a 3 seed 2 years ago, and they lost in Game 7 in the first round. So obviously he did wonders, trying to revamp Sacramento. It lasted for a year or two. Last year they lost in the playing game, but. Yeah, I don't think he's a number one, but if you're asking him to be number 2, which he is now in San Antonio, with Wemby, I know Wemby's out for the year, but obviously Wemby is the face of that franchise.
They weren't going to win it all this year anyway. So.
Right.
Right, exactly. And as a number 2, I say Gas. As a number 1, he's got that all-star potential, which is, all great. But again, are you going to be competing for a championship if he's your number 1? And I would say no to that. But we're talking about his current situation, which he's a number 2, and he's a very good player. He can score all levels, and so I'm going to say Gas.
He does have flashes of being great, but it's just too inconsistent for me. Like he always seems to leave me wanting more.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm going to go Gas as well. I just feel like if you're in Sacramento for some reason, no one talks about you, because I feel like De'Aaron Fox was an underrated player in Sacramento, and I also think Domantas Sabonis was an underrated player in Sacramento. I feel like none of them, like no one gave Sabonis love as a big man, and no one gave Fox really love. Like he wasn't like one of those first point guards you think of in the NBA.
Right.
But I feel like he very well can be in that conversation. And I think, as we've said, Fox, Wemby, peanut butter, jelly. They're the same. They're going to literally fit in absolutely perfect. I can't wait to watch them when they're healthy. And who knows what they're doing right now. I mean, they're clearly not tanking because they're down 4 to the Thunder right now.
Well, they're not going to win too many more games.
They're not going to win too many more games, but I think this just gives more time for the young guys like Sohan and Castle and all those guys. There's another guy, Keldon Johnson. All those guys to mesh well. Yep.
They won't openly tank. They're going to be playing hard.
But they want Cooper Flag.
Right, exactly. They're going to play hard. Coach Pop's out for the year. He's not coming back either. But, those guys like Shohan, like all those guys, Shohan, Vessel, Johnson, Castle, they also got to prove that, they're starters or they're valuable role players, in this rebuild. So they're not going to be openly tanking. They're going to be playing hard like they are right now. They're fucking scrapping, about to throw hands against OKC, which is what you want to see. Well, maybe not a fight, but
they're always just about to. Every player wants to seem like they're ready to scrap, but it's all just for show.
Right. You want to see them playing hard, which they are.
No.
What'd you say?
Well, I was just gonna say to your point, Hef, about like Sabonis and Fox not really getting the love they deserve. My theory is that like if you play for Sacramento, you're always just gonna be the third team being talked about in California. So you're just never going to get the love.
Golden State.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to be the fourth team. Jeez. So you're always just going to be overlooked no matter what.
And it's sad because they have some cool shit, like the beam. I feel like that's sick. The Kings fans, I feel like they always show out. And
they have a cool new stadium.
They broke their sports record, or they had the record for longest drought to not make the playoffs. Which was I don't remember how many years, 20-something or something like that. And then they finally made the playoffs, and I think they played the Warriors, and I think it went to 7 games, and they lost round 1. I just feel like if you're in, great point, Maben. I think you're exactly right.
Next
player. Yeah, moving on. Second player. Bean is going to love this. Damian Lillard.
Bean, go ahead.
All right, so for all the accolades they use on NBA 75, that blows my mind every time I think about. Whenever I think about Dame, I think about that, and all the players that were left off. And I'm gonna be showing some bias, and Alex English, who was the leading. How can you have the leading scorer in the '80s? That literally turned the tide in the NBA. I know he didn't go to finals. But Alex English, leading scorer in the NBA, he's not on that list. And then even now the list looks even worse because now he's a 3-time MVP. He was a 1-time MVP in the middle, or I guess just starting his second year as an MVP in Nikola Jokic. Now he's an MVP candidate, 3-time MVP candidate. Now, I don't know if you guys saw, he's now the favorite. He's now moved over Shea as the favorite of the MVP.
Oh, really?
It's close now, but
Shea was minus 700.
I know, and Jokic just had 27, 12, and 10 month, so that put him in front.
Ridiculous.
So he's favored to win his 4th out of 5 MVPs, and he wasn't on that list. And
Klay Thompson wasn't on it either.
Yeah, Clay, I can understand.
No Kyrie.
Wasn't Kyrie on that list?
I don't think so.
But that he won 3 playoff series at the time. He still has 3 playoff series now. He's only made 1 Western Conference Finals. He got swept in that series. So the best he's done is get halfway through the playoffs.
Kyrie was not in the top 75.
See, Kyrie, I mean, there's a lot of players. Obviously, you got 75 years. It's a lot of players, but so just the fact that he's on that list and with all the people that are on the list, I'm gonna have to say ass. Hall of Famer, but
Hall of Famer, but ass.
But the way he gets treated, second best shooter I've seen from behind Curry. But again, you got to do more in terms of winning. Ass.
Go ahead. I'm dealing with the hiccups over here.
Tristan, what's your middle name?
Damian Lillard.
Kyle.
Damian Lillard
Does that work? Is that a?
That's worked on me a couple times before.
Let's see,
say your middle
I haven't
name?
hiccuped up.
Yeah, my dad taught me that.
I-
Like when we were at Fabe fam. Shout out Fabe.
What the fuck?
Holy shit! I think it worked. Whoa! Shout out Mr. Bean.
Wait, you just got rid of your hiccups?
Yeah, I haven't hiccuped since he said that.
That would be crazy.
All right, Bean.
But
You're welcome.
Damian Lillard, he was one of my favorite players when he was in Portland. Me and Bean would always talk about him and would always argue about him.
Is he not one of your favorite players anymore?
I still like cheer for him, but
Okay.
I don't know. Him in a Bucks uniform, it just doesn't seem the
It
same.
looks a little weird.
It just looks weird.
I agree.
It just doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Bean is right. As much as it hurts to say, he hasn't won. He hasn't won anything. He had one good playoff year and the Nuggets still beat him when Dame dropped like 57 or whatever.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a rivalry. They beat the year he went to the Western Conference Finals. They beat the Nuggets in Game 7, and then they played a couple years after. But yeah, he scored 57, and they still lost. And he was going against fourth and fifth string point guards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Do I think the Bucks have a chance to make the finals this year? I do. I do. I do think they have a chance to win just because they have Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
When you have Giannis, you always have a chance. That's
Right.
how I think of it.
Yeah, I
A
agree.
healthy Giannis, you always have a chance. So can this change? Absolutely. But right now, I would have to say ass. But he's obviously a great player. As being said, he's a Hall of Famer. And I can't wait for the playoffs to happen, and maybe the Pistons might match up with them. We'll see, but that's like the one matchup I probably wouldn't.
I hope
want,
not.
yeah.
It's crazy because it's all about the expectations of the player. Like
Damian Lillard's known that. So the reason me and Bean said ass is because like he's known as one of the best. Like as Bean said, he wasn't even he was in the top 75.
right,
I know like Kyrie wasn't, and all
right.
these other guys.
The expectations, if you're one of those guys, is to be able to will your team to at least an NBA Finals appearance, and he hasn't been able to do that. Now he's in a different situation where he's the number 2 guy in his team. It's not all on him to night in and night out to be the reason why they're winning games. But at some point, he went to Milwaukee. He left Portland to win championships. They got to put something. They got to win a series. They got to do something in the playoffs this year.
If they flame out, Giannis is gone.
For now, I'll say gas. But if it's another disappointing playoff exit where they're eliminated in the first round, or it's like a quick second round, it's to ass.
That's fair
Fair
enough.
enough.
Tentatively gas.
All right, the third person on gas or ass this segment, third segment, I believe we're doing this. If you guys like the segment, please let us know because we enjoy doing it.
Drop a like.
Drop a like, subscribe, share, do whatever you want to do.
Drop a comment.
Drop a comment.
Appreciate the love.
Appreciate the love. Check out our TikTok again, YouTube Shorts. We got all that stuff. People are loving it. You guys love it too. Third player, Tyrese Maxey.
Ooh.
Bean.
We were watching that game, mostly you have, but I turned it on at the end because you were loving the game, so I'm like, oh, I'll check it out. Yabusele went off. Maxey is obviously there. Paul George is obviously there. They have Quentin Grimes, who dropped 44. He could have had 50, but he missed all his free throws, basically. He missed 6 out of 7 free throws and still had 44 points. I don't know how that works out, but that was crazy. They ended up being the Warriors at home. They have all this talent. They lost McCann's out for the year, and then Embiid, which that's crazy. Did you guys see that tweet I sent you this morning?
Yeah, he's out.
If
or
he's
for another year, they may like medically retire him.
They're gonna medically retire him.
They're gonna send him to a nursing home, and he's never gonna play another game again.
He might
that might
be able to
happen.
walk again.
Get him to a good nursing home.
I wouldn't like Embiid. That's very realistically him not playing a year from now.
Yeah, I think it's realistic that Joel Embiid will not play another NBA game.
Yeah, well, they said, granted, he could get hurt. He could come back from this injury and then get hurt again, and it would be different. But I would not be shocked if he is still hurt a year from now from the same injury. He's having surgery.
Sure.
I think they're like moving the hip bone and putting it in his leg.
Jesus.
I think I heard.
Yeah,
so,
he's not playing again.
Yeah, so if Embiid's on the team, if he's going to play again, who knows. But they got all these guys, and I'm going on a tangent now, but they're very talented, and Maxey is probably the most talented now. I really like his game. He's impressed me the last couple of years. Another Kentucky guard, Fox was. We talked about him earlier. But I'm gonna go Gas. He's kind of in a shitty situation right now with his team and how they've played. But was he most improved player, I think, last year or something like that? Very good player and a bright future. But Philly might ruin his career.
Man, I hope not, because he's fun to watch. He's a fun player to watch. Gas, I think it's an easy Gas for me. Out of all of the three, I think it's the easiest Gas. With all the circus going on in Philadelphia, he's still hooping. He's still playing at a very high level. If the Sixers know what's good for them, they're not even worried about Joel Embiid. He's not even in the picture anymore. You're doing whatever you can to get rid of Paul George, right? And you're building this team with Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain as your cornerstones.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
Hoping for the balls fall in your favor and you get Cooper Flag. And then you're off to the races.
Or you get one of the Rutgers guys.
Yeah, I mean, Harper could work with Maxey, I think, and
Bailey is very long.
Ace is probably the one they want.
Ace is a genetic freak.
He is. I love Dylan Harper too.
I like
he
him both.
reminds me a lot of Cade. He moves a lot like Cade. But yeah, Gas easy for Maxey.
I agree. I set us up for this one because it is a pretty easy Gas, and I know there's a lot of talks about Philadelphia and the 76ers right now. But before I talk about Tyrese Maxey, did you guys know every single dollar of Joel Embiid's contract, which is $300 million, is guaranteed, a fully guaranteed contract?
I think that's why they said they were medically retired. They would have to get like an outside firm, and they wouldn't have to pay him.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He's got his agent deserves his flowers for getting his contract fully guaranteed.
Yeah, and Paul George, he has a 4-year, $211 million.
Hey, he's going to be a different player, though, because he stopped podcasting. He's going to focus on championships.
That guy's a fucking pussy, bro. He sucks. Paul George is horrible. I was so hopeful when he was on the Clippers that hit, like, right when he got traded, worst trade of all time, by the way, that the Clippers were going to be good. They were not good. Tyrese Maxey's averaging 27 points per game on this team. He is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
He should be the cornerstone of this team, and he will be the cornerstone of this team, but you have to somehow get those guys out of there, and I don't think you can, though.
So here is Embiid. Here is a tweet. Legion Hoops tweeted it out, but it was reported by Keith Smith, NBA. 76ers could petition for a medical retirement for Joel Embiid if he's unable to play a year from now. End quotes. At that point, an independent doctor selected by the NBA and NBPA would examine Embiid. If agreed, he can no longer play. His remaining contract would be wiped off the books for the Sixers.
And Joel wouldn't get any of that money?
Not the money. I mean, the money obviously he's made since he signed that contract, but the remaining money on the contract would be wiped off.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, I feel like Joel. Yeah, wow, fuck. R.I.P. to him. I'm sure he could live with 200 million. I'm sure he's already. What does he already have? Like 200.
He's probably fine
Is he
financially.
is he on his third contract?
I believe so. Yeah.
Or is this after his rookie contract?
I don't think
know.
we're seeing him again. I think we've seen the last of Embiid.
Good riddance.
Honestly,
Get out of here.
Honestly, I'm fine with that because I don't want to see that flopping son of a bitch.
He's not fun to watch. He's not. It's sort of sad to watch him because like the type of player he was and the potential that he had, and it's just sort of squandered.
That's what 100%. It's sad. I know we're supposed to be talking about Maxey, but I mean the environment he's in right now, it's crazy. But
and he's still hooping though. It's a testament to Maxey.
It is. That's why he's gas.
Yeah, and he has the mental fortitude. Embiid clearly doesn't, and that's why Maxey's a better player to build around than Embiid.
But that's the thing, maybe you said it. He's had all this potential, and it's really gone to waste. Like, he's fun to watch when he's healthy, but he's never healthy in the playoffs. And then he wasn't even hurt coming into the year. At least he said he was fine, and then he missed out the first couple weeks. He got suspended. He got in a fight with a reporter. Now he's hurt again.
Fighting with his teammates.
So, yeah, it's just no bueno situation. I think it would probably, in the long run, it's crazy to say because he won the MVP 2 years ago. It's not that long removed, but it would probably be best if he doesn't play again.
He'll be remembered for this whole fiasco more than the MVP.
I think it would help him short term and long term if he doesn't play again. I really do for them because they just move on.
Even if he does play, he's just going to be a shell of himself.
Yeah. It's going to be in his head. It already is in his head, clearly. So
the other thing, too, playing for the U.S. team rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah. He should have played for Cameroon?
It's like he's not an American. Yeah. I know he's lived here for most of his life, or the majority of his life, but it's like, if he played for the Cameroon team before, what's the change? Well, the change is that he just wanted to feel like a champion for once in his life.
I feel maybe he knew something we didn't. This is his last opportunity to win a trophy / medal.
Maybe.
Yeah, but still, it just doesn't. It's
a bitch-made move.
If you're a real person, like, that doesn't hit you the same.
Right.
If
you're being honest with yourself, you're like, this was basically a bot. Yeah. This was not earned.
Yeah, 100%. But he needed something.
It's fair.
All right, we good there, Heffa?
Yeah, we're all good on gas or ass.
All right, perfect. With our last segment, it's going to be 2 different topics, but same city. We're going to be talking about the Red Wings and the Pistons. Hef, I'm going to start with saying you're a jinx for the Red Wings. I'm a jinx for the Stones.
I've never heard you admit you're a jinx for the Stones.
How are you a jinx for the Stones?
So I went with our good friend P. We went to the game the other day against the Nuggets. They obviously were on an 8-game winning streak, and I did not go to one single game during that winning streak. I think they only played 4 games at home, but nonetheless, I didn't go. Mm-hmm. And the one game I go to when they were on that streak, they lost. So
they got shit pumped too.
Yeah, it was a good electric environment. Good first half. They were losing by 5, and then they got shit pumped in the third quarter. And then they played last night. I didn't go. I was watching the Wings, and they won. So.
Well, to be fair, they were playing the Brooklyn Nets. I mean,
G League team.
You could put us 3 out there and we'd compete.
Killian Hayes is starting at the point guard. That's really all you need to know.
What did you guys think of that move, them booing? I thought that was a weak move.
I thought it was a lame move.
Yeah, what did you think of? Yeah.
Yeah. Don't boo that
Killian
guy.
didn't do anything.
It's not right. They George and Greg said it's not his fault he was drafted 7th.
Right. It's not his fault that he's terrible.
It's not his fault that he should have never grabbed the basketball. Tried.
But no, like on a serious note, it's like he put in the work. He just wasn't good.
Yeah.
He was fine defensively. I mean, he was on shit teams, but
just can't make shots.
He was the worst shooter, historically, which is sad to think. But
I sent you guys that Halliburton thing about he thought like 100% he was going to go to the Pistons, like almost like 100% because
I've seen that before.
Because after the top 3 was like Edwards and whoever. I think that was that draft.
Yes.
We had the 7th pick, and he was like, yeah, well, it's got to be me. Like, I had my best workout there. He goes, I missed like 3 shots all day. And then when he said I didn't go to the Pistons and Killian Hayes was picked over him, he was shocked. Maven, I wonder what your thoughts would be on. But also, I want to say this as well. We wouldn't have Cade Cunningham if we got Halliburton.
Right.
So, and Halliburton's a pussy.
It all works out in the end,
Yeah,
but
it worked out in the end. Thank God we didn't draft him.
You would love him if we drafted
No,
him.
no, I would not.
you would be forced.
You got to think about
love
it too.
him.
He
would've
got
been
traded.
forced.
Was it once or twice? He got
Once.
traded.
He was with the Kings, and then that's definitely why he hates us, because then he got traded to the Pacers, right? Like you said, and we're obviously in the same division. We play him 4 times a year, so that's even more motivation for him. But he would be. I mean, he may not be here anymore, but you would have been forced to love him, Maven.
He may have not been the player that he is if he came to Detroit, because I don't think a guy with the mentality, him being a mental midget, I don't think he would be able to withstand all the losing that we went through the past 3-4 years. Like, he would have crumbled. He may have been Killian Hayes if he was drafted to us.
I don't know about all that, but
Probably not, over-exaggerating, but
over-exaggerate. I mean,
making my point that he is not. He's not
He's
in
a
my.
pussy.
Look, we still would have been shit. We might have won. we won what, like 31 games the last 2 years. We might have won 35 if he was here, right?
Yeah,
So,
maybe.
And he like we said too, like he might have not even been here the last couple of years, because he was with the Kings, and then he got traded. He's been with the Pacers the last 2.5 years. So who knows if he would even be here? But no, I'm glad we beat the Nets. It was, it is what it is. I understand frustrations with Killian, but again, like, it's not like he wasn't trying. It's not like, oh, he was
Right.
at the nightclub and he wasn't practicing. He showed up late.
he wasn't a bad defender.
Right. He just wasn't good. It's just like, what can you do?
He's just a shit player.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm a
Good guy,
Jinx.
though.
I'm willing to make a bet with you right now.
Should we compromise? I don't watch the Red Wings. You don't watch the Pistons.
So I would do a little compromise. So
That's a bad deal for me.
I'm not going to go that far, but this is regular season only, of course. For the rest of the regular season, I will not attend a Pistons game if you don't watch a Red Wings game while the Pistons are playing. I think they play like at the same time like 5 more times. So that's
you're
literally
saying-
5 games.
So you're just saying watch the Pistons, not the Red Wings, when they're both playing at the same time.
Correct.
Oh, easy.
Okay,
Easy.
that's a good deal.
Easy.
Shake on it for the camera. My hands are sweaty. There we go.
The camera probably actually missed that because
I think this one might have got it, but
deal. I'm totally okay with that.
because this is why I say that.
I want to watch my Malik anyways.
Yeah, if
He doesn't win Sixth Man of the Year.
He's got to be.
If he doesn't
it
win
should
Sixth
be
Man
him.
of the Year, by the way, if Peyton fucking Pritchard, oh my God, I would. I'm not even gonna say what I would do.
I think you're letting him off the hook a little bit here, B.
Here's
You're
the
just
story.
trying to start shit.
No, I'm not.
No. So let's tell the story first.
You're
Maimon definitely is trying to start shit, but Hef yesterday said, "Let's go Red Wings." We kind of just scored, but he was kind of late to the party after we scored, and I'd shit you not, 30 seconds after we tied it up at 1. The Columbus Blue Jackets. If you haven't seen the Red Wings and the Blue Jackets played in Columbus yesterday in the Horseshoe, it's part of the Stadium Series, which has been going on for a decade. The Wings lost 5-3. It was a controversial ending. We'll get there in a second. 30 seconds after he said, "Let's go Red Wings," Columbus scores 2 right before the period ends, 3-1.
Legitimately, seconds after he sent the text, they scored 2, not 1 goal, but 2 goals.
Yeah, and they were like 32 seconds apart.
And it was hilarious too, because Bean was going after you.
I was pissed.
Bean was
I sent
going
the
after
video.
you like a rabid dog.
Yeah.
And you, credit to you. Obviously, you're going to defend yourself, but legitimately, 2 seconds later, they scored two goals.
Can we talk about the NHL? I agree. I jinxed him.
Okay, way to
But
deflect.
I just agreed. I jinxed him. But I just want to talk about that call, that high stick.
Well, we're still not done. Well, I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to give you credit here. Then he said, "Let's go Red Wings," and then he said, "Let's fucking go Red Wings." Maybe a minute after he said, "Let's fucking go Red Wings," we scored. We scored.
I was
made
saying it to
3-2.
fuck with you.
So it actually worked there. And then I'm like, all right, let's get another one. We didn't get one right away, but we did eventually tie it 3-3. And then this fucking guy opens his big mouth up and says, hold on, let me get the exact wording here. I want to make sure I'm not taking anything out of context.
I said, let's fucking go Red Wings.
No, after we tied it up.
Oh.
If you're an actual fan of the Red Wings, you wouldn't watch any more games.
I'm a fan of the Red Wings. I'm not like I wouldn't consider myself like a diehard Red Wing fan.
But if you're a fan of the city of Detroit, you would not watch any more Red Wings games.
Okay, so I said in all caps, I said, one more, please. And this fucking guy goes, I will. I might wait for overtime, though, to get the Jackets' hopes up. And this fucking guy, they score.
At least don't talk about them anymore.
Yeah. Well,
like if you're gonna watch, don't let us know that you're watching.
What I didn't
don't
like
let the world know that. That's not us. Don't let the world know.
Done,
you're
I'm done
watching.
sending texts about it.
Okay, good.
Two reasons
That's a
why
good start.
Two reasons why I didn't like that. If you were paying attention to the fucking standings, we're literally tied with the Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
Every point counts. And then the high sticking happened, the no call, and then the Blue Jackets scored, and then they scored an empty netter. So you gave up 4 goals, you jinxed us 4, and you reverse jinxed once. So you were a -3.
-3.
I was shotgun 3 beers because I fucking.
But no, go ahead. You can start us off with the missed call.
Yeah, that missed call was such bullshit because, Bean, you said it. If he acted injured or if he was injured,
Yeah,
you
just
could
wait for
review
the
it.
stretcher.
So why don't first of all, who got high sticked? Was
Evanson.
it Evanson? That's what I thought it was.
Yep.
If he knew that rule, stay on the ground or stay on the ice.
If you kind of look at it, he is kind of like after the goals went in, he's still like down. Like he's still he didn't like. I don't understand the. Did you know that rule, Mabin?
What?
I still don't understand it. If the ref misses a call and it's a high sticking, you have to either be hurt, like you have to stay in the ice, or you have to be bleeding.
Yeah, usually
For them to review it.
they will. First of all, they'll call it. They'll stop the play if somebody's hurting down.
Right.
And they'll upgrade it to a double minor if there's like blood or an injury. So I don't know if they can reverse that call though. Like they can't.
I
like
don't understand
review
that
it.
rule. Like
They would have been able to if he was hurt.
yeah,
But
like
he was hurt, so why didn't they?
No, but
reverse
he had
it?
to be on the ground longer. Or some shit.
yeah, that's another thing.
is
He was on the
They would
ground
reverse
till
the play if he was hurt.
right, and
It's just bullshit.
it's like what classifies you being hurt? He was on the ground still after the goal.
Right.
Happened, like so, the guy went down. It happened right on the blue line. Took it down, shot it. He was still down. Got his own rebound right away. Shot it in, and Evanson was still on the ground. So like, what is that? What constitutes you being hurt? And next time, just fucking stay on the ground and have
Right.
literally a stretcher come out.
Right.
Like I don't understand that rule. That pissed me off. I mean, we still dominated that game, and they still shouldn't have been in that position. But yeah, bad loss, and Hef is a jinx. But I'm also a jinx for the Pistons. So Hef can't watch the Wings while the Pistons are playing, which I think is only 5 more games, and I can't attend another regular season Pistons game the rest of the year.
Deal.
It's a steal for Ryan. You're letting him off easy.
Shut the hell up, man.
I don't disagree, but 5 games I can relax in peace. So I'll take the 5 games.
Okay, fair enough.
Does that conclude our?
Yeah,
Twitter
we were gonna
episode?
do throw it back,
Oh,
but
you're right.
but we are getting a little bit long on this episode, and I'll save it because it plays at any time. So
So
I'm
we'll throw
willing
it
to
back
save
next week.
We'll throw it back next week.
We'll throw
Alright,
it back
sweet.
next week. Perfect end of the episode. That was great. We covered a lot of sports today, guys. College hoops, hockey. What else did we cover? Did we cover anything else?
NFL.
NFL, yeah, we
Jordan
covered
Schultz.
NFL, Deebo, everyone. If you guys stuck along for this entire episode, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Please subscribe, please like, please follow, please share, please comment, anything you want. Rate us. Let us know how we're doing. I feel like we're bringing out a product that people will enjoy, and we're not going to be done for a long time. We're going to be doing this for a very, 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 very long time. Look at our TikToks. Look at our YouTube shorts. We're dropping sports trivia questions. We're actually going to do them right after this. Loose Balls Pod 1. I'm Ryan Heffernan.
Tristan.
Wait. Say it one more time.
Tristan.
I'm Christopher Bean.
Deuces.
Peace and happiness.